Magic in the Morning with the Goo Goo Dolls and Name. One of the biggest songs they've ever had, and it's been in movie soundtracks forever and a day. Are you good? Mike Barrettson over here. He's giving me these hand signs. You got sound in them?
I got sound in these cans over here.
Headphones are working. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
All right, so Tuesday mornings we chat insurance to keep you informed on what's going on out there. Because just like everything in the world, every market upgrades, makes changes, as if it isn't complex enough, huh, Mike?
Yeah. Just to keep us on our toes.
So last week, we'll just touch on this very, very, very briefly here.
Sure.
Last week you talked about hiring because you guys are growing at your new location, right?
Yes.
And that's still ongoing, right?
Still ongoing.
Okay.
The information of the job, the description of the job, how to apply for the job, all still on our Facebook page. But yeah, we've started the interview process, and we're hopeful. We need someone to come in and be a utility player for the office, which was one of the reasons why we bought an office building.
Yeah, which is kind of goes along with the unemployment figures here for the state, too. So, like I said, we'll just touch on that briefly.
Sure.
So we've had a conversation every once in a while about things that most people aren't aware of out there that they can insure. I mean, we've talked about family heirlooms and things along those natures.
Yeah.
The special insurance requirements for a seasonal or antique motor vehicle, and the list goes on. Something we haven't talked about in quite a while. Pets. Are they insurable?
They are. Not on your traditional home or auto policy, but I'll put a little asterisk on the auto policy and get back to it. But there is coverage available to them. And one of the reasons, Jeff, I thought this was kind of key to bring up is on Thursday, we noticed some issues with our dog, Charlie.
What?
Who's our 5-year-old yellow lab, who's a love bug. He's a big lug. But the problem with Charlie is that he eats everything. Everything. If it's there, it's gone. So we suspect that at some point Thursday, he consumed something without our knowledge and has had an allergic reaction since. So he has really red belly, a lot of bumps on his head, sores and things like that. And it's definitely an allergy. So we tried to get him into his vet on Friday, but it was pretty late in the day by the time we were able to get some kind of an idea of whether we should do that. They gave us a Benadryl regimen to do, saying that if it's just an allergy, that should take care of it. It put a small dent in it, but turned to Saturday afternoon, late afternoon, where I pulled into the emergency vet in Littleton and proceeded to spend 5 hours in my vehicle while waiting with Charlie for 2 and then waiting for Charlie for 3 while they gave him some shots to take care of it. Now, why was I there so long? Because God bless those people. I've never seen so many animals have to go to an emergency animal hospital in my life. It was swamped. So I thanked them for all that they're doing, and 5 hours was nothing for me considering what they were doing. But here are all these unknown things that have happened. And then yesterday morning, Charlie was even worse for wear. So had to go back to his vet. And now he's on prednisone, and he's on antibiotics. And so while these things are happening, I go, I'm so glad I have pet insurance. Because I have basically the equivalent of medical insurance, health insurance for Charlie, which is available for cats and dogs. And it can be life-saving if, they're your furry family members. You're going to do everything you possibly can to keep them comfortable, sustained, and healthy. And when things like the unexpected happen, that's where the pet medical insurance can really be of benefit.
I'm going to jump in here real quick. My Tigger, it was actually 2 years ago on Saturday that we lost Tigger, and obviously we didn't know about the pet insurance thing there. I spent every penny that I had trying to save that cat's life.
Yeah.
Ended up, unfortunately, succumbing to lymphoma.
Yeah.
It was a quick battle, unfortunately. It was month and a half, 2 months, and it was over and done with. But now we got this crazy little wild man, Loki. He's going to be due come up here in December.
Yeah.
These aren't pets. These aren't like an old shoe. These are full-on family members.
They are. And that's one of the reasons why we wanted to take strides to find pet insurance. So we have a couple of offerings. And the basic overview of how they work is that they have coverage available. It's going to be for medical issues, illness, Also can help with chronic issues, accident, things like that. What's not going to be covered mostly, although you can add coverage to this, exam fees initially wouldn't be covered. The initial exam fee for like an illness wouldn't be covered. You can buy that and add it to it. Wellness visits, not covered. You can buy that, add it to it. So it's as much as you want to put into it. But if you want just more of an emergency fund, they even, one of my companies even does prosthetics. They will cover prosthetics. They'll cover cancer treatments, including experimental cancer treatments, things that you want to do. And so you pick a deductible, you pick an amount of coverage that you want, whether you want them to pay up to $5,000, up to $10,000, or an unlimited amount a year with one of my companies. You choose your deductible, your copay. It's very much like medical insurance. And I will tell you, I'm pretty sure I'm going to meet deductible this year. I have a $500 deductible. And this is now the second or third visit for Charlie in recent months. So I'm pretty sure the big lug is going to meet deductible this year.
Well, he's an adorable man. I always go down and see him after our chats every week. Yeah. So you mentioned initial visits aren't covered. What about spayed and neuter?
So those are going to be considered wellness visits. Those are not going to be covered automatically, but there are companies that offer you to add on coverage for that. Essentially, all you're doing is deferring your cost. I mean, when you consider how much more money you'd be spending over the life of the animal compared to what you just pay out of pocket for those types of visits, it's a balancing act as to whether you want to just defer the cost into a monthly payment. Now, don't think that pet medical is cheap. I mean, it's not. It's going to be between, $15, $20, $30, $40, $50, $60, $70 a month, depending on the animal, depending on the coverage. All sorts of things to consider there.
Now, you mentioned cats and dogs. What about other pets?
Honestly, I haven't found anything for the other pets.
Okay, well, no, I mean, there are people out there with, we're not talking like tarantulas and
right.
pythons.
There's mortality coverage available for livestock. That's out there right now. But when it comes to the iguanas, the fish, and all that, I don't believe there's much to go on there. But, and then the asterisk that I mentioned earlier with the auto insurance, there are some auto insurance companies that have automatically on your policy or through an endorsement that you may have that gives you some pet medical payments coverage. What's that? If your pet is in your vehicle and sustains an injury in your car, companies like Progressive or even a Vermont company like Cooperative Insurance, if you have the endorsement with them, will pay you a certain amount of money for your pet's immediate medical attention. So for me, I have Cooperative Insurance on my auto. I would have up to $500 if Charlie was injured in an accident. Guess what? That pays my deductible, and then my pet medical would kick in after that.
That's great stuff. Now I'm sure you have sparked a lot of questions and a lot of interest in our listeners, and we always encourage people to contact you. So give them the information.
Absolutely. You can give us a call, 748-5224. We're located on Portland Street in St. Johnsbury. Online, thebarrettagency.com, Google, Facebook, and YouTube. And if you go to our Facebook page, you'll see my posting from Saturday night when I shared about Charlie. Just look for Barrett Insurance Agency.
And don't forget, the new location is right at the east side of the Portland Street Bridge.
Big blue building on the left as you're coming across from Dunkies.
Formerly
Dr. Hobbies.
There you go. Yeah. What a lead in. Mike, let's go down and say hey to Charlie. Folks.
Actually, he's resting at the office right now.
Oh, okay. So. All right. Well, I'll still go down with you here. Folks, we go back to the music with Magic in the Morning with One Republic.